The horrific incident of two women being paraded naked and gang raped in Manipur has sent shockwaves across the country. It has shaken the conscience of every right-thinking Indian. But it has also prompted extreme political reactions from all quarters as well. Now, at a time when pointed questions are being raised on the horrifying crime in Manipur, two similar incidents from Bengal have been brought to light by the BJP. In Malda, two tribal women were allegedly stripped naked and paraded. And a similar incident of assault on a woman, reportedly a BJP candidate in the Panchayat polls in Howrah, has also surfaced. Now, the BJP essentially alleges that the woman there was stripped and physically assaulted. Now, while these alleged crimes must be condemned with equal vigour, these incidents should not divert attention from the horror of Manipur and fixing accountability there. Now, as the BJP brings up the issue of women's security in opposition-ruled states, the opposition's reaction has been equally extreme and what many would describe as selective outrage. Now, take the case of Rajasthan. A minister says that the Gehlot government must introspect cases of brutalities against women, like the recent gang rape of a 17-year-old that happened on the Jodhpur University campus. Now, what was the Gehlot government's response to this? Sack the minister. Just hours after that statement was made in the assembly, that minister was sacked. Now, on the Bengal incidents, for example, Mamata Banerjee has mounted an offensive, saying that the videos are fake and it is the BJP's strategy to disrespect Bengal. The bottom line is, including Manipur, where the dignity of women came under the most brutal attack, all these incidents have been met with political bickering as parties look to score at least brownie points in an election year. On Left, Right and Centre tonight, we ask, can we expect more humane and reasoned responses to rape from our leaders? Why politicize rape is what we are asking on Left, Right and Centre tonight. We will be joined by a very special panel on this to discuss what the implications of politicizing rape essentially is, especially after that horrific video that came out of Manipur. But first, let's listen into this political blame game that's playing out over the incidents of crimes against women, not just in Manipur, but also in Bengal. Let's listen in to Union Minister Anurag Thakur and, of course, the opposition's response to it.
प्रधानमंत्री जी ने सख्त शब्दों में कहा है, कोई भी हो, कितने भी हो, सबके खिलाफ कड़ी कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए और होगी। लेकिन राज्य के मुख्यमंत्री, चाहे बंगाल हो, बिहार हो, राजस्थान हो, अपनी जिम्मेदारी से नहीं भाग सकते। One incident happens in Rajasthan, one incident happens in Bengal or Bihar or Manipur. A crime against women is a crime against women, and the action must be taken as per law. And the law and order is the state subject. The state has to take the action. Why there is a delay and why they are in a denial mode to take action. And my big question to all the opposition leaders is, will they send a delegation of the opposition leaders to the states like Rajasthan, Bengal and Bihar?
ये प्रधानमंत्री जी ने राजस्थान के स्वाभिमान पर चोट करी है। कहाँ तो मणिपुर है जहाँ पर क्या नहीं हो रहा है, वहाँ क्या नहीं हो रहा है, और वो कहते हैं 140 करोड़ जनता को शर्मसार होना पड़ रहा है। 140 करोड़ जनता को शर्मसार नहीं होना पड़ रहा है, वो तो दुखी है आपके सरकार के कारनामों से, आपकी विफलताओं से, आपकी लापरवाही से। एक बार गृह मंत्री जाके आ गए और तीसरी कर ली, जलते रहे, मरते गए, झोपड़े जल रही है, सब कुछ जल रहा है वहाँ पर। और जो रेप और जो घटनाएं जो आप देख रहे हो क्या क्या नहीं हो रहा है, उनके बारे में आपने खाली चंद सेकंडों में अपनी बात खत्म कर दी।
So, the Union Minister for Women and Child Development, Smriti Irani, has said that the Congress is silent on, the issues that have come up in Bengal because it looks to make an alliance with the TMC there. So, one extreme response on this end. And Mamata Banerjee has responded saying that this is a BJP's strategy to disrespect Bengal and mount an offensive on the TMC. So, another extreme response there. Both of them are equally responsible for politicizing this conversation around an extremely sensitive issue. Listen in.
Is not only sensitive but has implications with regards to national security is known to opposition leaders. However, opposition leaders did not want to discuss the issue on the floor of the parliament. What has been extremely alarming is that yesterday from the state of Rajasthan, a minister spoke up against crime against women in Rajasthan. He was unceremoniously dismissed by the Congress party. Equally shocking is a video which is now going viral on the internet, emanating from the state of West Bengal, a district called Malda, where two Dalit women are being mercilessly beaten and stripped. My position is this: the Congress did not want to hear the truth about atrocities against women in the state of Rajasthan. The Congress is running away from the truth about the challenges that have emanated in the state of Manipur and does not want a discussion. The Congress is a mute spectator to the killings of innocents in the state of West Bengal, all because it is hungry for a collaboration with the TMC.
কোন থেকে ছাত্র যুবদের বলবো, বিজেপির এখন প্ল্যান হচ্ছে তৈরি করে ঘটনা সাজিয়ে দিয়ে, ওই পুলমার মতো তৈরি করে সাজিয়ে দিয়ে নিজেরাই ফেক ভিডিও করবে, যেমন সিনেমা তৈরি হয়, নিজেরাই ফেক নাটক তৈরি করবে, সেই ভিডিও করে বাংলাকে অসম্মান করবার চক্রান্ত করেছে। তার কারণ প্রধানমন্ত্রীর বক্তৃতা থেকে এটা ক্লিয়ার। প্রধানমন্ত্রী মণিপুরের কথা বলতে গিয়ে বাংলা, রাজস্থান, ছত্তিশগড়ের নাম করেছেন।
And well, I have a wonderful panel with me tonight, an all-women panel, as we look to fix accountability and talk about the sensitivities of these cases. Charu Pragya, spokesperson of the BJP, is joining us on the broadcast. Also with us, Aishwarya Mahadev, spokesperson of the Congress, on the broadcast as well. Yogita Bhayana, who is an activist and also founder of Pari, People Against Rapes in India. Geeta Bhatt, political analyst who supports the BJP, is also joining us. And in just a short while from now, we will also be joined by Dr. Kakoli Ghosh Dastidar, Lok Sabha MP from the TMC. Charu Pragya, going across to you first. The point that the BJP is making, and several of your top ministers have made this point, including Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma as well. You know, this whole argument about atrocities against women and crimes against women happening in opposition-ruled states. Fair point, your point is taken. But many would call this whataboutery. At a time when we are discussing the heinous crime that happened in Manipur, where two women were paraded, they were stripped naked, do you think an argument like, you know, is this not happening in opposition-ruled states? Does this not dilute, the gravity of, the brutal crime that we are discussing as far as Manipur is concerned?
Vedan, good evening. And good evening to my fellow panelists and the viewers as well. Let's make one thing very clear. No one is shirking any responsibility here. Let's also make it very clear that the government stands in a space where we are fully and completely committed to making sure justice is met for the families of these girls in Manipur, but also for the families of girls in any other part of the country. Now, if we are pointing a finger at a crime somewhere, it does not mean that we are shying away from discussing the crimes of Manipur. Had we done that, call it whataboutery. That is not what is happening. Here we are saying we are going to arrest every single perpetrator, and we will not stop till incidents like this don't come to a standstill across the country. And when we can take responsibility, tell me, why is it that if a minister in the Congress government of Rajasthan speaks out against atrocities on women in the state of Rajasthan, we aren't allowed to question it. The minute we question it, you call it whatever.
But Charu, why bring in politics in this at all? Why bring in politics in this at all? When you're saying Congress ruled or opposition ruled states, it is giving the conversation a political color.
Yes. So, let me please finish. Obviously, we are discussing the events which are transpiring as we speak, right? As for the video that we saw from Manipur, the resignation was handed in yesterday under duress. Why can we not discuss that? Discussing that becomes politics. But discussing Manipur is legit. So when women are paraded naked in West Bengal, no one wants to discuss it because it does not suit the so-called alliance of the opposition. But it suits them to discuss Manipur when the PM when the PM is leading from the front and he takes responsibility and he says that we are going to put a stop to this and make sure the perpetrators are punished. Let's remember that.
Okay.
Also, women cannot be used as spoils of war. Women's bodies cannot be used as spoils of war, and we have to hit at the root of the problem, and nobody wants to discuss that. In every single debate that I have sat through, the whole discussion is, I have nothing to say about the minister who was asked to leave.
Fair point. So let me get in the Congress spokesperson here. Let me get in the Congress spokesperson here. Aishwarya Mahadev is with us on the broadcast. You know, this extreme response that we've seen as far as the Gehlot government is concerned, the sacking of a minister which came just hours after he spoke about, and he made a fair point, you know, keeping the politics aside, keeping the pilot versus Gehlot angle completely aside, he made a fair point that we must introspect before raising Manipur, because we've seen Jodhpur happen, we've seen Karoli happen, brutal crimes there. Why was a minister sacked just hours after he made this point? I mean, isn't it a bit of a, you know, it's not the right message that you're sending across by sacking a minister who makes a fair point about introspection when it comes to crimes against women?
Good evening. I think first and foremost, I unequivocally condemn any sort of crimes against women, irrespective of the dispensation, irrespective of where it happens. And I believe that all of them are equally abhorrent and also equally deserve to have action taken against them, irrespective of what the political affiliation, what alliance and what not is. I think, however, the most important point before I answer what you're saying is the sort of response that comes to such actions of crimes against women. For some people, it may be to garland rapists. For other people, it may be to give them parole because it's their birthday. For some people, it may be to let them continue as chiefs of federations while they talk about, you know, we will take the strictest action. Right. But I think all these cases, the way you view it or the metric you view it before political whataboutery, before any sort of analysis beyond the usual, is what response have these governments offered. In the three cases that everybody, all the BJP is, you know, hunkering down on about all these opposition rule states, which is a false equivalence. They are all crimes in themselves that are horrendous enough to be treated as separate cases. In the two cases, in the case in Rajasthan, for example, within hours you had an arrest, including an AB member. Hello?
Go ahead, yeah.
Sorry, the audio, anyway. So, for example, in the Rajasthan case, you had an arrest done, you had action taken. In the Malda case, you had the DGP come out and actually give you clarification. In the situation of Manipur, after this horrendous video came out after 77 days, the news is that far more FIRs were registered of far more women that have died in this violence. And the problem is this. There is a complete blackout of information, which in any state, social media and media play very vital pillars when they bring out this news, which did not happen in Manipur. And second, you have not held anybody accountable. And on the last part of the Rajasthan minister, I want to say this. Whether it was an internal skirmish or not, the man was not himself per se also. Like a continued rapist that has been continued in, you know exactly where. You've seen what has happened in certain cases across in the BJP government. You've seen their members of parliament.
No, but why was this man sacked hours after he made that remark? Let's come back to the point, because, you know, it's about the messaging as well. You're sacking a man who speaks on the floor of the assembly saying that we must introspect. Is it not an extreme response? Is it not aggressive defense on the part of the Gehlot government and some sort of denial as well?
First and foremost, I think it would be legitimate for the minister to have made that statement if the Gehlot government had been completely silent, not taken action and abdicated responsibility, where, you know, as a chief minister or as a minister, you come out and say hundreds of such cases have happened. That's why we have an internet shutdown. I believe that an inopportune moment of a very sad political and a sexual violence incident was used to score internal political brownie points because of some internal differences. I believe that is an essential difference. If the Gehlot government had not acted, mind you, my own party would have hauled them up, which has happened in several cases. Even if you remember the Alwar rape a few years ago, an entire delegation of the Congress party, even with the Congress government there, landed up there to ensure action.
Okay, point taken, Aishwarya Mahadev, but let me go across now to Geeta Bhatt, political analyst, supports the BJP, who is also joining us on the broadcast. Another very unfortunate thing about this entire incident has been, several BJP ministers, in a sense, questioning the timing of the Manipur video being released on Twitter. In fact, top ministers of the BJP said that this is being done right ahead of the monsoon session and there is some sort of a political angle to it. That's, in a sense, very disrespectful, not just to the victims, but also in this entire incident when you're dealing with a situation where two women were paraded naked and something that has, sparked national outrage. To question the timing, is something that did not go down very well. And also many could turn around to you, Geeta Bhatt, and say that the timing of these videos, the Bengal videos, is equally questionable because it's coming out just after this entire conversation around Manipur picked up. What do you have to say on that charge?
Well, Vedant, you see, the honor of these women, whether from, those who have been the victims in Manipur or whether in Rajasthan or whether in West Bengal, their honor and dignity is much above the political slugfest that we are seeing, considering these cases. It is really very unfortunate, irrespective of the political party. You see, it is very important to understand that we need to, face this issue and address that there is an elephant in the room. Now, unfortunately, what has happened is that political parties are trying, what happened in Manipur is shameful and definitely the perpetrators, they need to be, punished in the most strictest way. But unfortunately, when the same thing is happening in Rajasthan, we do not see any of the, big shots of Congress party, whether it is Mr. Rahul Gandhi or whether it is Priyanka Vadra, coming out and seeing, have you seen that visual that how that, Dalit girl from the, how her body is being taken out from the well where she was dumped after being raped and murdered? It's this, whether it is in West Bengal. The point is, please let us address the issue. And in fact, in Congress party, there are allegations on their Congress youth chief, Mr. B.V. Srinivas.
Okay, again, Geeta Bhatt, what we seem to be doing is that clubbing all these cases together, even when they're completely different. And Yogita Bhayana, I'll come back to Geeta Bhatt. Let me go across to Yogita Bhayana, waiting there very patiently, an activist who's worked with rape victims as well. How do you think this kind of political slugfest and this kind of conversation affects the conversation around rape and rape victims? And the unfortunate part is that, as I mentioned earlier, also we are clubbing all these cases in one category, whether it's Manipur, whether the incidents that allegedly happened in Bengal, whether it's the cases that Ms. Geeta Bhatt is mentioning. These cases and what the victims had to go through are completely different from each other, and to put them in one category and, these sort of false equivalences, this, in a sense, really tarnishes the conversation around rape.
Absolutely unfortunate. All these women are on the panel and they are women themselves and they are representing their own political parties. They are trying to please their own political bosses. I have nothing to please and I want to ask each one of them, please stop it now. It's a high time. Being a woman, just have some dignity, not to protect, not to just, put the mud on other, rather than try as a collective consciousness to try to see what is the problem, how we can protect our women, not to just praise your bosses. I just, for God's sake, I just say that being women on the panel with you. It's just that, it is so saddening to see these politicians. Anurag Thakur says everything, Smriti Irani says everything about West Bengal and Rajasthan. But how about Brij Bhushan? How about Manipur? I mean, she was completely mum on Manipur. She had nothing to say about Manipur.
Fair point there. Also joining us on the broadcast, TMC MP, Dr. Kakuli Ghosh Dastidar. Thanks very much for speaking to us. As far as the TMC is concerned, the response of the TMC has also been exactly what you're calling the BJP out for, politicizing the sensitive issue of rape. Your leader said that this is hurting the dignity of Bengal when we're talking about the dignity of women. So how do you see, that allegation where, you're in a sense doing exactly what you're calling the BJP out for?
Are you falling into the trap of the central government run by the Bharatiya Janata Party and trying to muddle up things? Muddle up the issue in which Manipur is burning? Unless the picture, unless the video came to the forefront, none of you all would have opened your mouth, because it was 78 days. These women were seeking justice, and none of the channels showed it, that they are being tortured. I agree completely with the lady who was speaking just now, that instead of condemning the Bharatiya Janata Party government in Manipur, the Chief Minister has failed the women, the Chief Minister has failed the state. It is also said that he is taking sides. A statesman doesn't take sides. A statesman is for everybody. Chief Minister is everybody's Chief Minister. Prime Minister is everybody's Prime Minister. What happened for the 78 days? Before the pictures surfaced, before the videos surfaced, I'm not going into how it surfaced.
Right.
Because I know.
But, also, Ms. Kakali Ghosh, another question that many would ask is that, is this also not some sort of denial? I mean, should you not be investigating the cases instead of, in a sense, politicizing it or trying to defend, your own party's stand? Should you not be actively and aggressively investigating the cases?
We are the only party. The other all-party members have gone and come back. We are the only party who also gone to Churachandpur. We spoken to cross-section of people, and we found out this is not only a class war, but at some places it is being abetted by the administration. The governor, Honorable Governor herself, Her Excellency, told me, whatever orders I am giving out is not being implemented wholly by the administration.
Okay.
It is shame that the Bharatiya Janata Party ministry over there is failing the people. And the central government is failing the people of India by not agreeing to discuss this on the floor of the house where the parliamentarians are waiting to.
Let me get Charu Pragya very quickly. Charu Pragya, when we bring issues like, incidents also happening in Bengal and Rajasthan, what we also do, as I said earlier as well, dilute the gravity of what's happening in Manipur. Now, in Manipur, we're also dealing with a situation where we are not really aware of what is the extent of atrocities on women happening there. So instead of a comprehensive, conversation around what's happening there in Manipur, instead of, at least aiding that conversation by bringing up opposition-ruled, states and the cases happening there, you're defeating the purpose of what this, what this conversation, outrage around this video could have served, by at least starting a conversation on the extent of atrocities of women that might be happening in Manipur, and we're not aware of it.
Yes, and I understand the gravity of the situation. I'm certain we all understand the gravity of the situation. And let me assure you of one thing. The pain anyone is feeling, I will not even say a woman, the pain any person is feeling today does not change looking at their party affiliation. And let's not pretend that. I think it suits the opposition narrative to pretend that they are more pained looking at the geographical location of the Manipur incident. The fact of the matter is we did want to discuss it. We thought Parliament is a great place to discuss it. But does the opposition want to allow the Parliament to continue to function?
Okay, that's an important point, and let me quickly get Aishwarya Mahadev to respond to that. Two things very quickly, respond to what Charu Pragya is saying in terms of you not wanting to discuss Manipur in Parliament by insisting that the Prime Minister must make a statement on the floor of the House. And secondly, Aishwarya Mahadev, also talk about what many would call selective outrage. After, just a day after your Parliament showdown, this sort of, silence on really what's happening in Manipur and in Bengal and Rajasthan. Go ahead, Aishwarya Mahadev.
Vedant, I think that it is extreme falsehood of the BJP to say that the opposition is stalling discussion in Parliament, because if you look at the number of members of Parliament that have asked for a notice to the Speaker to have a discussion on Manipur in both houses, including also, as it is the prerogative in the time of national crisis, when a person as Chief Minister will stand outside a Taj Hotel during a terrorist attack and have a press conference, I would believe when you lead the country that you would have at least a little bit of the courtesy to address the House and the representatives of the country in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha to assure them of the process forward. Because if you are
I'm afraid I'm completely running out of time. I'd like to give the last word to Yogita Bhayana. What do you expect of political leaders? As somebody who has dealt with rape victims, as somebody who understands the nuances of the problem, what do you expect from your political leaders? Go ahead.
We want to get over this whole state politics and protect the women, especially in Manipur. I would urge the government to do something and maybe put a president rule there. yesterday also there were 2 rapes, if you've seen. I mean, every single day, we don't get to know. That's the whole problem. We got to know these cases after so many days. Every single day, women are being brutalized. Right now, it's an emergency. Like he did that attack, surgical strike. I think he needs to, our Prime Minister, our other leaders, opposition need to come together rather than putting mud at each other. They need to collectively work to prevent our women, especially in Manipur. Right now, it is a situation. Every minute counts.
Absolutely.
Every minute counts.
Absolutely. And a good note to end this discussion on. But of course, as the government has also said, that the focus really should be to prioritize women's safety and not politicize it. And of course, the fact that crimes against women are crimes against women. Doesn't matter which state it is or what political points do you score out of attacking a particular issue and being silent on the other. That's all that we have on Left, Right and Centre. Good night and keep watching.